So good morning to all of you who are gathered here, either here at Namaste Lake Chapala or around the world. It's wonderful to join, to be present, to be together. And to be together for one reason: to remember and to know that I am as God created me. And to feel the changelessness of that, knowing that sacred knowledge that I am and remain as I was created, perfect and whole and complete, and that nothing can change that. A fantasy or an illusion can't change the truth. I can imagine that. We've been endowed with powerful imaginations where we can imagine a whole world and seeming realities that appear to cause change within the changeless. But change within the changeless is impossible by its very definition. And that's my salvation. That's our salvation. That knowing, to know that, not to believe it, but to allow that to sink in and to become such a powerful, all-encompassing experience that it's the only thing I need to know, the only thing there is to know, that I am as God created me, whole, perfect, and complete, forever changeless, beyond any question. And then to let the need that I feel to imagine something different or separate from that to dissolve. The literal need, where does that need come from? The need to see something that is not really there. The need to create something that goes against the very laws of creation. Why do I have that need? And the answer can only be that for some reason I wanted to avoid seeing and knowing the truth. Ultimately, the reason for that need is not even important. We could say that there was that single guilty thought in the mind of the extension of God, which is what I am, that caused me to turn away just for an instant. And in that instant, the entire thing was healed. But for some reason, I keep spinning and I don't allow that healing to be recognized. I can go through any of that, but all of those are just concepts as well. Those are all just ideas to try to get me to see what can never really not be seen, that I am whole, perfect, and complete. To see what forever cannot be seen. Does that make sense? In other words, I'm seeing it now, or maybe it's right in front of me now and I have my eyes closed and I refuse to see what is forever seen by God. But that doesn't mean it's not true. You know, I was talking to Jai yesterday, one of our dear beloved members here, and he said, you know, basically you say the same thing every day. Of course. There's really nothing else to be said. All we really do is say the same thing from different angles until the right angle hits for you. The idea that we need to say different things every day would be the fallacy. There's only one thing to say and there's only one thing to see. The only thing there is to see is that you are perfect, whole, and complete. And I and any whole mind is going to say the same thing to you over and over and over again, because it's the only thing that needs to be said. All we need to do is to finally accept that I am as God created me, perfect, whole, and complete, shining in the reflection of God's love. That's why we have that prayer every single day, so that it just keeps going in and we just keep digesting it. We keep breathing it into the deepest part of who we really are. until we hear it and until we say yes resolutely, until we really bring it in and embrace it, until we choose to see the only thing that can be seen. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to share the little message of the day from the Impersonal Light. I hope you've all received your copy. You probably got the email yesterday saying that it is out on paperback now. So anyone who would rather be able to hold it and turn the pages and put little markings in the book, you can get that now. But I was reading this yesterday, and it really hit me in just at the perfect angle. As we said, we're going to hear the same thing over and over again until it just comes in just at the right perfect angle for my mind, for me to be able to really get this. So see if you can really hear this. Since there is nothing apart from God, and since I am everywhere and in everyone, it's impossible to see anything that is not whole and wholly filled with light. Once again, since there's nothing apart from God, and since I am everywhere and in everyone, remember, this is the I am consciousness that's within you right now, speaking directly to you. Since I am everywhere and in everyone, it's impossible to see anything that is not whole and wholly filled with light. Here we go. You may think you see something other than this. One who is awake and one who is asleep. One who is enlightened and one who is unenlightened. One who is a master and one who is a student. But none of those things are so, because I do not see them. And what I do not see is not seen. Really hear that. Our need to identify differences. This is the master, this is the student. This person is wholly filled with light, this one is the whatever. That's nothing more than my unwillingness to see as God sees. Because the instant I do choose to see only what is seen by the I am within me, I realize there is no such thing as the master compared to the student, or the enlightened one compared to the unenlightened one. I need to let go of that idea completely, because the experience cannot come until I do. Okay, none of those things are so, because I do not see them. The I am within you does not see them, and what I do not see is not seen. But they can certainly be imagined. You have imagined many things, but I promise you that you're only seeing what you want to see. And since you've refused to see as I see, you've seen nothing at all. A lesson like this may feel like a very strong confrontation, and it is. It's meant to confront you in your unwillingness to see, your unwillingness to acknowledge that there is only one thing to see, to really confront it. And if you're willing to not be offended by that confrontation, in other words, not to be personally offended, to think that I'm speaking to you as if to accuse you of something, if you cannot be personally offended by this confrontation, the experience will snap into place like that. But what we do, unfortunately, if we hear this, we'll say, who is he to say that to me? Or whatever form that offense takes. How dare you claim that I'm not seeing what is real? Let go of that. Just yesterday, I think there was a line that said something like, just joyfully recognize this. This is not a confrontation to attack you. This is a confrontation to set you free. Once again, if you choose to see all these differences within this person, that person, the enlightened one, the unenlightened one. All you're really doing is choosing not to see as God sees, and that's the only thing that keeps you from this experience. Joyfully let it go. Okay, a little bit more. No one who has seen as I see judges against what I have seen, for that would be the proof that they do not see anything at all. You would not judge against what is seen only by the divine. One who is filled with light, or what you would call enlightened, sees only the light, filling everyone they perceive. Period. I like that there's that emphasis at the end. Period. If you judge one person as being enlightened and another as being unenlightened, it is you who is unenlightened, for you are judging against what I am seeing. You're judging against what only can be seen in reality. I see only the light because the light of I am consciousness, and here it is the only thing that exists. The light of I am consciousness is the only thing that exists. Therefore, I see everyone in the same way. The I am presence, consciousness within you sees everyone in the same way. And you would do well to imitate me in this. You would do well. I love that last line. So yeah, this is a bit of a confrontation, but a joyful one. Don't be offended. If you are, well, please let it go, because you're only offending yourself. This is meant to be a joyful recognition of the only way into heaven. The only path that leads into heaven is your being able to recognize that that's the only path there is. The idea that there's this path and another one over here and that this person's enlightened and that one is not, all of those things are just ridiculous. And to recognize that joyfully rather than to have your identity offended by it is the only path into heaven. So why not go today? Why not say yes right now? Hallelujah. So I know Vicky is just going to take this and knock it out of the park. So Vicky, I'm going to turn it over to you and hear what you have to share about this.
Okay, Jimmy, this brought to mind my grandson. And, all children. So I haven't seen him recently, but I watch him. And this is why when you say this is joyful, the reason this is joyful is because there's no threat anywhere. When you recognize everyone's being, their essence, their I am, their light, even if you're willing to recognize it, even if you don't really feel like you see it, it doesn't matter. Just be willing to see the spirit despite the materiality, no matter the costume or script. And I'll watch children, my grandson, but most children, and they walk out free to be with everybody. Goes up to strangers in the store, says, I Tommy, want to shake their hand. Sees another kid, can't wait to run on over and play. Doesn't care how old the kid is, how young he is, boy or girl, in a wheelchair or not. Just let's go play. That's childlike simplicity. Accept ye be as a little child. That's all Jesus was saying. He's saying, just see the spirit. And of course, what sees the spirit is an open heart. And that's why I think the Dalai Lama and all the Eastern traditions use compassion, because compassion is an active love. It's a way of seeing with the heart. It's a way of caring. But childlike looking, look like a child, like look at everything without trying to define what the costume is. Don't define it, just enjoy it. And that childlike simplicity has no fear, because there's no threat. There's nothing they're protecting, only giving of themselves to join, to play, to enjoy, to continue to give and be. So my message for today is the other thing is that this is a time with the prayer in the beginning of receptivity. To go from knowing from thinking about to knowing, it is really helpful just to be quiet and receptive. Because when we're receptive, we're not defending any position. And by not defending, we're simply allowing ourselves to be. And then the truth comes in of its own because there's nothing of us blocking it. So simply being receptive is a wonderful state to move from thinking about this to knowing it's so. And then moving freely in it. And moving freely in it is for any of us to do. Look at any child. Here we go. Be like a child today.
That's right. Go ahead and finish first.
No, that's it, Jimmy. That's it. Because this is always about experience. And when a holy instant comes and our mind shifts into light and we see that none of this gets in the way, that's great. But there are many that are here that can simply shift to being open and childlike, because we have images for that all around to recognize, oh, I see how fluid and free that can be. I'm going to be like that today when I go to the store. I'm going to smile at everybody. I'm going to thank everybody. It's that simple, because love fills up quickly within us as we let it go through us and from us. Thank you, Jim.
I love how you took this whole idea that was shared in that lesson today and just made it so simple and so playful. Be like a child today. So here we go. Be like a child today. No need to complicate what's it. Oh shoot! I haven't played this in a while. I don't remember how it goes. I think I can get it. Be like a child today. Don't overcomplicate what's simple. Yes, so simple. Love's power in you is strong. You don't need to wait so long. It's simple. Oh, so simple. I do believe that you can finally see what I tried to get you to understand. It isn't hard to see what has always been true. If you take my hand, yeah, take my hand. Be like a child today. You don't need to throw away what's simple. Oh, so simple. I've tried so many times, but it was all just in my mind. It was simple. Oh, so simple. The simple point is to never hesitate to offer the love you feel inside. That's the way. That's the only way to never complicate and to keep your heart open wide. Be like a child today. You don't need to throw away what's simple. Oh, so simple. Here's what I'm telling you, that love alone is true. It is simple. Oh, so simple. Love is so simple. Love is so simple. It is simple. Love is simple. Sing that one line with me. Love is so simple. Love is so simple. It is simple. Love is simple. Everyone, wherever you are, sing that one line. Love is so simple. Love is so simple. It is simple. Love is simple. One more time. Love is so simple. Love is so simple. It is simple. Love is simple. like a child today. There's no need to throw away what's simple, so simple. Be like a child today.
Bravo, Jimmy. Thank you. Thank you. Perfect song cue. Here's Teddy. Here's Teddy.
Oh, you want me to talk?
Yes. Do you have anything you want to say?
Well, I do. When you were reading and talking before, pick up lesson number 17 from A Course in Miracles and read the first paragraph. It is the most confrontational paragraph that I've ever read. And basically, he's telling you the thoughts you think have nothing to do with anything because they're meaningless and do not exist. You're not thinking at all. Your thoughts are images you make. You look at them and think there's something, but there's nothing there. Nothing, zero. It's the most confident, and it's early on too. He doesn't wait. He just tells you, right? It's lesson 17, exactly what you're doing and why you shouldn't do it. And the other thing that when you were talking is, the reason the ego hates the idea of changeless because it means boring. The ego equates changeless to boring only because when you have the experience of there being only love and love only extending eternally, it's not boring at all. It's total, complete, and it's always going on. And that's the difference. That's why the ego wants you to not think in terms of the experience, because once you have it, the ego's boring and it's meaningless. But when you have the experience, you understand that the idea of change is just, an illusion. Nothing here changes because it's all meaningless. It's all equally nothing. And when you are perfect as God created you, you're the extension of his love extending. That's all there is in the universe. That's all there is going on. It never stops and it is eternal. It's eternal and infinite. And it's far from boring. That's all I can tell you.
I'm glad you said that, Teddy, because that's exactly correct. How the ego interprets changelessness as, well, if nothing's changing, it must be boring. No, it just means it remains forever as it's always been, which is dynamic and whole.
Yes.
Not
Good words. Dynamic. Dynamic's a great word.
Thank you. Wow. Great
Yeah.
lesson, Teddy. Thank you, Vicky. Let's see if there's anybody here at Namaste that would like to share anything. Anybody want to come up and share their dynamic experience? Okay, well then, hold on. Oh, come on up, Rod. Rod, why don't you just sit right here and I'm going to turn this around.
All right.
Here, let me give you the mic.
Well, as usual, I have a little bit different perspective. And what I want to bring up is I totally agree with the Christ vision and what you were speaking of and the changelessness. But there's also the story. We refer to it as the ego, but it's still the story. And it's like you have to climb up this hill in order to see the valley. The valley is the Christ vision. And you can take that first step when you're feeling well, when you're in touch with spirit. But much of my experience, I have not been in touch with spirit. I encounter story after story, and it's not until I use what the Course calls the forgiveness. What happens then? I become a better man. And not just spiritually, but in form. And as I move through all these supposed problems, which there are none, because you don't exist in the first place. Yet, that strong belief that you are that man or that woman will lead you to all those life experiences that have anger, that have jealousy, that any of those unpleasant experiences. And where I'm going with this, once you use your toolbox, you take the forgiveness out of it, and then you try it. You just try it. And by golly, do you get some good results. And you're feeling so expansive that then you take a couple more steps up that mountain, ridge or whatever, and that valley becomes so much more attractive. So I'm just saying, even if you don't have Christ's vision, don't give up. Use the tools. Use that forgiveness.
Wait, stay there for 1 second, Rob, because you sparked something in me that is pretty cool. You know, you being a contractor, you spent much of your life building things and having a big toolbox and having just the right tool for whatever needs to be built or fixed. And I love that image because if we think about it in this story, you have a big toolbox and you have all of these things that need to be fixed, and you keep taking tools out and trying, well, no, that's not it. Then you try this, no, that's not it either. You keep trying all these different tools in your toolbox and nothing seems to be fixing it. That's what happens when we're always trying to fix things in the world. We're always trying to pull these things out of our toolbox that never quite fit right and never quite get in so we can actually fix. And then suddenly you look in the toolbox and you hear this sound that goes, "Ah," and you see this glowing golden tool that was at the bottom of the toolbox and you never actually saw before. And you take it out and it's glowing and everywhere you go, it fits perfect. Everything, not one thing, but everything. That's forgiveness. That's forgiveness. It's that one tool that, unlike every other tool that never really quite fixes anything, that one tool fixes everything.
That's right. It does fix everything.
Now, ultimately, not even forgiveness ultimately has to be let go, but that's the final step. But I love that image. I'm glad that you brought up the idea of the toolbox, because it's like that's that one tool that's way at the bottom that we only get to when we've used every other tool that never really works, never quite fixes.
Busted your fingers doing it.
And bust your fingers doing it, he says. Thank you, Rod. That was beautiful. I love that image. Anybody else here want to share anything? Okay, let's head over to the Zoom room